Isaiah chapter 15 now. Shalom. Isaiah chapter 15. The burden of Moab. Let me look at this word Moab. H41:22 means of his father. There's a lot of different definitions here. There's 3 definitions I see. Son of Lot, by his eldest daughter. Second definition is the nation descended from the son of Lot. Third definition, the land inhabited by the descendants of the son of Lot. Makes sense? They're all coming from Lot. Moabites, right? So the burden of Moab. Verse 1. For in a night, Ar of Moab is laid waste and brought to nothing. For in a night, Ker of Moab is laid waste and brought to nothing. So these particular cities of the Moabites are being destroyed. Verse 2, they have gone up to Baith and to Dibon, to the high places to weep. Moab wails over Nebo and over Medeba. Baldness is on all of their heads. Wow, so it's not just the Israelites that have baldness of head, huh? Interesting.
Very interesting.
That limits, or what should I say, that broadens the curse. So you can't go to everybody who has baldness of head or short hair and can't grow hair. You can't say that they're all Israelites. They might be Moabites. Baldness is on all of their heads. Every beard is cut off. If that's the right interpretation of that. Again, we're dealing with the prophets here, so there's always a lot of, idioms, metaphors. We're dealing with poetry. You know, the prophets speak very poetically, very metaphorical sometimes, but if that was a literal interpretation, that's how I would read it. Every beard is cut off, so probably men can't grow beards either. Clean-shaven folk. Moabites. Verse 3. If there's in their streets, they clothe themselves in sackcloth. In their streets and on their housetops, everyone wails, weeping abundantly. Yeah, because there's a lot of destruction going on. They're losing. All right, I'll stop there. I see 2 hands. I'll start with D-Rail, and then I'll go to Jeff and Sakai.
Okay, first I wanted the beginning, verse 1 in the Septuagint. I like how it words it. The word against the land of Moab, by night the land of Moab shall be destroyed, for by night the wall of the land of Moab shall be destroyed. I like the way that it words that. In verse 2, yeah, it doesn't say anything about a bald or shaven beard on mine. It just says, grieve for yourselves for every Dibon where your altar is shall be destroyed. Thither shall ye go up to weep over Nabu of the land of Moab. How ye baldness shall be on every head. It says that, and all arms shall be wounded.
Oh, so there's confirmation that there's baldness in both translations. So one can't say, oh, you see, the Masoretic text is trying to hide who the true people are.
Yeah.
Nope, it's in the Septuagint as well. So,
yeah.
Cool, man. Thank you for reading that.
Yep.
Jeff, Takaya, Shalom, Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom. So during, and it might be physical, but during African American slavery, if they are who they say they are, they did shave their heads and their beards and call them boy, as though to take away from their maturity or their manhood. So I don't know if that's part of a punishment, and that's why it was done then too. But I like also mourning. They'd shave their heads in mourning, I hear. And so I wonder if that could be a part of it, as they shave for mourning purposes.
Got it. Yep, that would make sense too. Yep. I could see that being an interpretation of this, the Moabites, for sure, because they're losing, their cities being destroyed, their countries being destroyed. So yeah, there's a lot of grief going on. So yeah, good stuff. I could accept that. Verse 4. Heshbon cries out with Ele. I'm curious to what that is in Hebrew. H500. Elohim is ascending. Interesting. Elohim, El is ascending. A Reubenite village near Heshbon. So it's an actual place. That's interesting. So you know how scripture says, "Rise, O Yahuwah, rise, let your enemies be scattered." So here's them probably acknowledging, yo, this Hebrew, the Elohim of the Hebrews is rising up and straight bringing destruction right now. So Heshbon cries out, Elohim arises. Their voice is heard from Yaaz. Therefore, the armed men of Moab cry aloud. Their souls tremble within them. Verse 5, my heart cries out for Moab. Her nobles flee to Zoar, to Elgath, Shelishiyah, for they go up by the ascent of Luhith with weeping, for on the way of Horonaim they rise up, a cry of destruction. For the waters of Nimrim will be desolate, for the grass was withered away, the tender grass fails, there is no green thing. Therefore they will carry away the abundance they have gotten, and that which they have stored up over the brooks of the willows. For the cry has gone around the borders of Moab, its wailing to Iglaim, and its wailing to Bir Elim. For the waters of Dimon are full of blood, for I will bring yet more on Dimon, a lion on those of Moab who escape, and on the remnant of the land. Wow. The vengeance of Yahuwah. Vengeance is truly Yahuwah's. Ezzy, what you got?
Just some cross references. So in Leviticus, talking about the baldness and really all the destruction coming to Moab. So in Leviticus 21:4, I think it's interesting that it talks about a leader not being bald. It says a leader does not defile himself among his people to profane himself. They do not make any bald place on their heads, and they do not shave the corner of their beard, and they do not make a cutting in their flesh. And then Ezekiel, which is later on, another prophet here, Ezekiel 7:18 says, and they shall gird on sackcloth and be covered with trembling, and shame shall be on every face, and baldness on all their heads. They throw their silver into the streets, and their gold becomes as filth. Their silver and their gold is unable to deliver them in the day of the wrath of Yahuwah. They do not satisfy their appetite nor fill their stomachs, because it has been their stumbling block of wickedness. And then the last one is Ezekiel 27. I think it's 27:31. Yeah. And they shall shave themselves bald because of you, and shall gird themselves with sackcloth, and they shall weep for you with bitterness of heart and bitter wailing. And in their wailing for you, they shall take up a lamentation, and they shall lament for you, who is cut off in the midst of the sea of sore. I think it talks about that too. And it goes on to talk about, and when wares went out by the sea, you have filled many peoples with your great wealth and your merchandise. You have made the sovereigns of the earth rich. In the time you are broken by the seas and the depths of the waters, your merchandise and all your company shall fall in your midst. And it makes me think of Babylon, because the fall of Babylon is talked about in Revelation 19, 20, almost the whole book. It talks about gold and silver and different merchandises and things that, the people sought to for deliverance and healing and really idol worship being destroyed, and nothing being left except for the messengers of Yahuwah. So I think that's interesting.
So you kind of did like almost a little word search on shaving of the heads, and you were seeing some when Israelites are forbidden to do it, namely priests. You brought up the priests. But then you brought some where there's cases where shaving is instructed. Am I correct? Okay. Yeah, I would agree. So the shaving of the head, there's Torah for shaving your head for certain things when you're being cleansed from stuff. You know, you can find that in Leviticus. Yeah, there's different cases. Taking a Nazarite vow, I think, even, or when you're done with it. Shaul did it, or Shaul had some others shave their heads, something like that. In the book of Acts, you can read about that. He was going to pay for it. So interesting. But in this case, it seems like maybe what Jeff is saying, it's their part of their grieving, their mourning. Or it could be what Yahuwah is doing to them, you know, as part of Yahuwah's vengeance and his revenge. D-Rail, what you got?
All right. What version were you reading from again? The web or?
Yeah, the web.
Okay. Yeah, mine says the same thing for 15:9. And the waters of Dimon shall be filled with blood, for I shall bring more upon Dimon, lines upon him who escapes from Moab and on the remnant of land. More. Who are we talking about? Well, when you go to the Septuagint, it actually tells you who more is, the Arabians. He says, and the waters of Dimon shall be filled with blood, for I will bring Arabians upon Dimon, and I will take away the seed of Moab and Ariel and the remnant of Adama. Now, has this happened already, or is this like saying like kind of the Muslims or something? He'll use another nation.
Yeah, he can do that. Yep, Yahuwah can do that. He can use any nation he wants. Any piece on the chessboard to trump any piece on the chessboard. He's in control of the chessboard. So definitely, yeah.
And look at the Middle East the way it is now. I mean, prophecy.
Well, you said Arabs, right? It said Arabs?
Arabians, yeah.
Arabians. So, yeah, there's a little distinction, right, between the Palestinians and Arabians.
Saudis?
Yeah, they're kind of, you know, they're both Muslim. They're both Islam, but there's all different levels of Islam, right? There's different denominations, for lack of better terms.
Yeah, but we also see that Yahuwah doesn't only use his own people; he uses other people to do what you got to get done.
Yes, he does. Perfect example: he used Assyria and Babylon to do his vengeance on Israel. So why wouldn't he do it to use it against the enemies, to be against themselves?
Yep.
So good stuff, man. Anybody else? JP, my man.
I just had a question. Jeremiah 48, is that the same time and everything? Because I know I see in 48:36, it talks about or 48:37, it speaks about the being bald and that whole scenario. So, I mean, is it just a different rendition?
No, it's a good catch, because I believe Jeremiah and Isaiah were around the same time. They were definitely alive. At some point, they were alive at the same time as prophets. So yeah, there's definitely probably overlapping of confirmation of prophecy.
Yeah.
So that's a good catch.
All right, thank you.
I see it, yeah, right there, verse 1. Of Moab, Yahuwah of armies, Elohim of Israel says, woe to Nebo and all that. He goes on and on. Oh, it sounds similar to Isaiah for sure. Good stuff, man. All right, again, simple chapter, destruction for the enemies, you know. In this case, we talk about Moabites. Now, is that saying that Moabites can't be saved? No, that's not what this passage is talking about, okay? It's just, you know, I would like to believe that those who repent and join Israel, they're going to be fine. They don't have to worry about this stuff. When you're free from the wrath of Yahuwah when you come to Yahuwah through Yahusha. The wrath of Yahuwah is satisfied by the blood of Messiah. So anybody who's a different ethnicity or a different culture, you don't have to worry about this. But if you haven't repented, you got a lot to worry about. Anyway, that's Isaiah chapter 15.